Well, hello. Today is the day Apex 23.1 just landed on apex.oracle.com, as you can see here on the bottom. And with it, there are a few of nice features, for example, PWA notifications, style changes, etc. Here's even the link, can quickly go over it. PWA push notifications, modernized object browsers, also nice. Some performance rest, copy stuff. So in depth, it's really cool new features. But one of the most exciting things for me at least are the template components. And I already seen a talk about it from Menno Hogendijk. Oh, sorry, I guess I mispronounced that, but I think he's the main developer of this feature, and he did a keynote on this topic in Apex World Conference in Netherlands, and I think it's a really, really, really powerful feature. It makes it's not adding a big new functionality to Apex in a sense like a new region or something, but it makes developing shareable and reusable UI components way easier. So everything you can do with it, you could actually already do it with plugins, but it's so much easier now. And I think in the future there will be so much cool components that are shared around as plugins that makes it really easy to make unique UI elements that suit your specific cases. And it's bridging the gap from being a low-code tool where you just have your stack of a few components, but it also now allows you to easily customize specific UI components and then share them. So I've talked enough. Let's jump in. And I'm starting with creating a new application. So creating a template component. First off, we need to actually have something that we want to show in the app. And for the first simple example, I'm just using this progress bar type component here. So we have a title, a percentage, and a progress bar, a nice one that just shows how much percentage of it. It's nothing really new, but I just want to show you how you can implement something like this in an app or in a plugin template component so that you could do it with other stuff. And I'm using here the Tailwind CSS stuff, so I like to use it to quickly prototype anything, and there are many pre-styled components things, but this doesn't matter. I just copy the HTML and a few CSS classes over, so it's not really specific to Apex here. So we want to implement this one in a basic report or something with an SQL query where we just fill the name here and the percentage and maybe the color of the progress bar also. And so what we can do here, we go to plugins, and in there we can create a new plugin from scratch. And here you already have it. Type, there's a new one called template component, and we're gonna name it progress bars. I don't know. dev.hartenfeller.progressbars. And here we then have available as single or multiple. And let's ask for the help here. And multiple is just, it's a own region. And you just query a few rows, and every row basically gets converted to this region or to this template. A single partial is for inside an interactive report. You can then render a single cell with the template we're using here. Template components can always be used server-side, template directives using with and apply syntax. So you could also use them anywhere else. So you're not limited to having the region or the interactive report stuff. That's declarative, but you could use it anywhere, which is also really cool. Okay, so we now get presented here with the first box that's partial, and this is basically the HTML markup of your single instance of your component. We do also have report body and report row. These are for the multiple option, where we basically, this is a wrapper around everything. In this case, the default a list, and every row can have then again a wrapper around it. So every item in there is a list item, and then we render the partial. This one here. So basically it goes, this is the outermost one. We then render in that the rows. This is basically this. Each row renders the partial, which is this. And what you're gonna need here is these template syntax. So we can have if conditions. We have special conditions like here if it's lazy loading is enabled. Here also assigned, we can check for that. And I'm not gonna jump too deep into that stuff. That will be also documented soon. But I want to just have this thing up here. So I'm gonna grab that, copy that. And for now, we won't focus on the lazy loading stuff. So this only renders while it is lazy loading. It will eventually always fall back to this here. And we just put in the HTML structure in here. And as I said, so we have here skill that should be queried by the database and also the percentage value. So we can put placeholders in here. So we say skill, we say here percentage, and we also have here in the CSS is style width is a percentage. And yeah, I also thought that it would be pretty cool to have different colors for each row. So we could use apex.oracle.com/universal or UT for universal theme. We could use the reference color and status modifiers. So they have CSS variables for a lot of colors here. So we could just use that. So instead of going background orange, we can then go with using a CSS variable, and the value is, for example, this would be static, so every time we would just use the first color in here, but we want to have everyone a different, so we can pass, instead of setting the one here, we can pass just a number to it. So it can be from 1 to 45, but with a modular statement it could repeat then. And okay, what we also can do is we can make it optional to have this this thing. So if the user does not want to provide any color index, we can fall back and say, okay, then use a static one. So we could put an and in here, an if in here. So we're still in the CSS background style here, and in here we do a condition if color index, the placeholder we define, is assigned. So if there is a value to it, the user can choose to not assign any column to it. We use that for dynamically getting the color number. Otherwise, so we have the else here, we just always use color 1. Okay, so this is our basic template. And if we go down a little bit, yeah, here's still some settings missing. We have to first create the plugin, and voila. If we now go down again, we can see that we actually get the attributes here automatically created. So it just scans what we used here with the syntax with the 2 hashes and automatically creates the attributes. We can edit them like we can do with plugin attributes. For example, color index should be a number, and it's currently here, it's a varchar, we want that a number, and that's not required. We can say percentage is also a number, and this time it is required. Apply changes, and the last one is skill, so that's the name of the skill. This time it's varchar, but it's also required. And so we also need some CSS. I'm just copying it, so we can go down below. Here we can have more, also some settings we could look at later, but here is also a files section, so you can load JavaScript and CSS with that template component. Let's create a styles.css. And I'm gonna paste a lot of classes in here so it looks nice as it's supposed to look. Copy that file URL or reference, and if I go back here, files URLs load, we have to put the styles file and apply changes, and yeah, now we are actually ready to go. So I go to page 1, and let's create a region in here, and you can see here it's now actually grouped, so theme components, built-in components, and application components. And application components is here the progress bars plugin template component we just created, and we can just define it, and we can put a source to it. Let me quickly copy that source. I created just some sample values. So it's just programming languages and skills, and here the I is just the number to iterate, so we can get different colors. And yeah, that's the basic query. I also notice I have an order by, so I order by the number. And we can go to attributes here, can say we want multiple or single. So single would be only for 1 row. We have multiples, so it's just a report-like thing. And now for now, just fill out the values, the required ones, skill. I mixed up the naming. I think title here is the name of the skill, and skill is actually the number. It's kind of misleading, but okay. Run it. We have to log in, of course. And yeah, you can actually see that we get this cool thing now. And I actually think I need to add something because I don't like the list styles here. I think I added some in my example I programmed out before. And so I added basically some classes in here. So in the UL I added this class, progress list, and in the LI I added some margin, so they're separated a little bit more, and Oh, it's still the dots. I don't know why. I know why. Actually, I have not used a UL here. I have used divs just. Oh, div, and here is also. We can't use list items if we don't have an unordered or ordered list. So now it looks good, I think. So we just have applied our template we put in there for every data row returned. And I think that's pretty cool. So let's try out the color feature. So we can then go ahead and actually assign something to the color index. It's the I number, and now if you look at the HTML here, we actually here have var ucolor 6 and the one before should be 5. Yeah. So this is pretty cool. We can use the Apex variables to make it look cool. And last thing I'm gonna show you for this is we can also do an interactive report. It's a classic interactive report here. Just copy the same query, SQL query, and if I now go to any column, I'm going for the I column because it doesn't have much information. We can see we can also use that template component here. Again, we have to put the columns in here. Percent is skill and skill is title. And if I now scroll down, we can see actually that it's used for every row to correctly show the current information. And I also think that's really cool. It's fairly easy now to make stuff like badges or even interactive things. And it really did not took much time to do this. And the stuff we skipped over before is the lazy loading part. So plugins, progress bars. So I just returned nothing useful in here. What we can do now is just copy the structure and put basic placeholders in here like this, and here remove the colored part so we only get the gray background, so it just looks the same but without any data, like it's not initialized, a kind of look. And so while this is loading, we show this, and when it loading is completed, it will change to this. And apply changes, we go back to the component definition here. We can go to attributes and say lazy loading to yes. And now we need to be quick. As you can see here, we can also do a performance recording, reload, stop, and here you can see it. So this is when I reload, it starts with this basic skeleton-like setup, so it looks like there will be something, and after loading is completed, it gets changed to the real data. And I think that's also some cool thing. Only problem is here are 3 rows displayed. There are actually a few more, and this is unfortunately a static parameter in here. How many where is it? Here, number of lazy loading skeletons. So I could say 10, for example. Then it may look closer to what it's actually doing here. But and on another page there could be 2, on another one there could be hundreds. So I think it's not really suitable to play around much with it. Just show a few and then let it load. So on the next one, I'm gonna add some actions to it, and I've just looked around the customer's application and I thought, yeah, it looks kind of boring with all these tables and the pencil icon here. We get this user information, kind of looks boring. What about something like this, where we don't have an image in the actual app, but I will fake just some image API calls, but we get this nice setup here, and instead of the pencil we add a button, something in here. And so we again go ahead and to the plugins and create a new template component, person list view dev.Kartenverleih, and this is only a report because it's like you have all the information you need about a person in here. It doesn't really make sense, I guess, to display it in a report. And so this is the whole structure. So we have this UL, LE, and we can basically copy anything in this LE. This is the part of a single entry. This is our partial here. And again, we have to go ahead and configure the stuff in here. So add placeholders basically. So we have here is the name. This is the role. Here's an image URL. We want also that to be dynamic. Image underscore URL. And we have an email. And we have an phone number. Oops. And voila. So let's first create it. And let me quickly open the one I created before so I can glance over it. We need again a styles.css. So create a file. And I need to copy over, 1 second. Here it is. Everything. We need to load that styles. And I also made again some changes to this stuff. So I have a wrapper around the UL with a div. I have the UL has some classes and this margin style. Here's again this we always need, so it renders this in here. And this I actually didn't change, and yeah, this stays the same. I think I should delete this. Go back into it. Yeah, okay, because I didn't delete it before, it created this my second placeholder from the example. We can delete it, and this time I'm also not going to change like anything in here. In your case, do change the data types stuff and the if it's required. For the simple demo here, I'm just keep it as it is. And we can go ahead to the page 50 and create a new region again. Go up. There's a lot of regions on this page. Product, reference issues, here contacts, and here's also the one I commented out from my tests before. So we again go to the application components, and here's the person list view, and let me copy the query page 50. I have it here. I don't need to copy it from the second monitor. So SQL query, and it's basically the same from the report used before. So this one. Only exception here is I added the image URL. I just go to random user API portraits, women, and add row num to it. So it's just iterating numbers. I just forgot to just apply the columns to the template settings here. So email, image URL, name, phone, role is title. Okay. And this looks way better. Okay. So as you can see now, we have think more beautiful list of contacts here, and this looks fine. So the part I want to show here is so I want to make the user able to edit something here. So this part we actually need to change. So let's go back into the plugin and person list view. Go to the bottom here, and here are the two sections: action positions and action templates. And let's go ahead, action template. This is the first one I want to fill. So this is basically you can have a simple button to put anywhere. So you can click on it, but you also can have menus, like you click on it, then something pops up and you can select between multiple options. And I would go for that. So basic menu. I also for now don't want to change this. Keep this generated stuff. Great. And if we now go down here again, we can then add an action position, and I just call it I think it's actions. So this is also the name we reference it with, and its type can have basic link or template, and the template is one we just defined and just created. And we can then reference it in our partial here. So we have this part here, button here. We can remove that, and instead we can put this stuff here. So if Apex has action buttons, then we render our action stuff here. So it's the same name as I defined here, static identifier. And apply changes. Great. Go to the page 50 again. And if I go to this is the person list view. We have this action settings. You may know it from the cards region. You can create an action position. You could have multiple positions. You could have, add multiple menu buttons, for example, in your partial. I have this one here. We can create the label, click here, for example. And menus here, we can then add single menu entries. For example, label is added and redirect to page. Okay, I have to look what I did here. It's page 37 and I said ID. Okay. So let's do the same thing for this. Clear cache, and here we do ID. Value is ID. We get the values of the query basically in here. And we can also do an icon. For example, this. And now let's have a look actually. So, for example, here on John, it now says clicks here, and we get this menu opened up. And if I click on edit on John, I will be redirected to the modal page to edit John. And if I do it for Eva, I get to her. And yeah, this is basically this stuff here. We could also add another menu item. Can have also separator here and can sub menu, so you can hover over it and again have many menu entries, like for example mail. We can then, I don't know, if something like mail to, is it something like this? I don't know which do I actually have a column email? Yes, and it opens my mail program. It's not this type of syntax. Maybe it's n dot one. So let's try that. Yes, actually, it's small, I know, but Thunderbird opened and it has the correct email address in that, basically this one here. So yeah, that's how we can add actions. One thing I noticed here is this button kind of doesn't look like a button, and I don't like that. So we can go to the Universal Theme Application button builder and have a look at how Apex buttons do work. One thing I noticed, this is already upgraded, but the button builder kind of is broken a little bit, but we can still look at the classes. So this is just a simple button with the class T button and then the text. And we can go back to our plugin and person list view. Go down here. We have, so this is only the actions template. So we don't have any HTML in here. We have to go to the template, the actions template. Sorry, here, basic menu I called it. And here is a template. So what we can do here is paste the class. And then here we have the label stuff. We can remove everything in there. Just do it like in the sample application, Universal Theme application. We have the label and the menu is also in here. Keep that. And if we refresh, we get a beautiful Apex button. Wow. So yeah, this is how you can add actions to anything, and I think it's really cool. I mean, yeah, much of the work is designing stuff like this, but I found it actually on the internet, so I didn't design that myself. But the putting these cool, beautiful designed UI components now into Apex is super easy, I think. And best part is it's a shareable plugin. I can just export it here, export. And I could use it in different applications, upload it to apex.world. And I think in a few months there will be a lot of super cool template components you can just download and implement into your app. They're really, really a great interface between low code, like putting your query in there and assigning the columns and getting a beautiful output. And I also like the way that there can be a single region, can be used in a report, or even, like it said here, you can use them anywhere with the this syntax. So with, you can then pass the placeholders and then apply, and internal name is, I think it's this. So yeah. So thanks for tuning in. I hope you now have a feeling of how these template components work. If you have cool stuff made with them, please let me know and share them. And thanks for tuning in. Enjoy your day. Bye.